Alright, guys. So, this is a fanfiction idea that was actually voted on over on my Patreon. As always, if you guys would like to be part of those Patreon videos and polls that affect videos here on YouTube as well as over there on Patreon, you guys can hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys could start sending me requests. If you do the third tier, that allows you to do requests for videos to do here on YouTube. And but if you want to just check out polls as well as movie reviews, just hit the first tier. Second tier gives you access to the exclusives I do over there, and also the stuff in the first tier. Anyway, let's get started with this video. So it won by a massive margin, by 60% of the vote. The Horror War. So what is the Horror War? The Horror War is this idea of having the universal monsters taking on modern-day slashers. That's really the idea. So let's get started with the story. So the story begins with Larry Talbot, who has been resurrected as the Wolfman. Of course, since the events of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, he's now just kind of like, well, shit. I don't know what to do. I'm scared, and the moon is going to be full tonight, and I don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm dreading, turning into the monster again. I must either die or be cured of this monster. However, that night goes a little differently, because it turns out that when he changes into the Wolfman is beset upon a unknown pair of strangers. Those strangers being Leatherface and Michael Myers. And the Wolfman thinks it just smells human on them, but he also, the Wolfman is smells weird. It smells like their scent is wrong. It smells like death. So the Wolfman does battle with Michael and Leatherface. Also, sorry for the noises out there. It's the garbage being taken finally. So the Wolfman does battle with Leatherface and Michael, but it's very clear that these guys, even though they're mere humans, there's something more to them and can hold their own against the Wolfman. However, as the Wolfman is being wounded from the weapons, because it turns out these things have been mystically empowered. Michael and Leatherface's weapons have been mystically empowered by some unknown enemy. But as the Wolfman is wounded and being beaten down, an unexpected savior comes in the form of Dracula and the Mummy. So Dracula and the Mummy fight off Michael and Leatherface, grab Wolfman as he passes out from the blood loss, and Larry wakes up in the next day in Castle Dracula, and he's like, Dracula, you monster! He knows who Dracula is. He's like, what is this? And Dracula is like, I mean you no harm, Mr. Talbot, but I require your assistance. So Dracula explains that an unknown enemy who is only known as the Hell Priest, you already know where this is going, the Hell Priest has been searching for relics of dark power. Basically things like, of course there's the Lament configuration. It's Pinhead, so yeah. So the Lament configuration, the Necronomicon, the Scroll of Thoth. In fact, it was the Mummy who came to Dracula, Imhotep, and this is Boris Karloff, Imhotep, and Imhotep was the one who came to Dracula because he was beset upon by Jason, and yeah, Imhotep came to Dracula, trying to keep the Scroll of Thoth out of their hands, and posed an alliance. And Larry's just like, now hold on a minute. Why should I team up with you? You're just as evil and cruel as those monsters are. And he's like, true, but we do not seek the nightmares that those monsters are capable of. We only wish to exist. And he's like, bullshit. You want to rule the world? And he's like, true. And only I shall rule the world. But I can't do that without humans to feast on. Now, can I? So Dracula is like, I'm basically putting together other allies like, other creatures of the night like us, in order to stop the Hell Priest and his minions. And he's like, I don't know who those people were. They didn't smell right. And he's like, true. It turns out that Dracula explains that he and Imhotep have discovered that the beings that that Pinhead have brought to this world aren't from this time period. He actually ripped them from their timeline, from their future timeline, and brought them here and have more or less enslaved them, so in order to be like his minions, to find and bring back the relics that he needs to unleash the... He basically like explains that like Imhotep and Dracula explain that like they want to use all of these dark mystic items in this time period where they're known, and also know where you can find them. But also, when you use them together, you can bring the Leviathan to Earth. You can move the Leviathan from Hell and move him onto Earth. And nobody wants that. Literally, nobody wants that to happen. So Talbot, while he is in disagreement, is like, yeah, okay, I'll help you. And he's like, true. And he's like, good. We need more people, though. So Talbot and Imhotep and Dracula set out to find other allies, meaning the other Universal monsters. Talbot manages to locate Jack Griffin, who is in hiding, and he's like, okay, I'm in. That sounds insane, and only I can rule the world. And Larry's like, whatever, cool. Imhotep locates the creature, the Gill Man, brings him aboard, and Dracula finds the monster and his bride. Don't ask about it, just think of it as like the House of Frankenstein movies where they don't explain why they're all here. So yeah, Dracula now has his allies. They even go pick... Imhotep even finds the Phantom of the Opera, and Dracula also finds Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So now they have their horror Avengers to go out and stop them. Meanwhile, Pinhead, like I said, he's enslaved the other horror characters, the slashers, Freddy, Jason, Michael, Leatherface. He's also enslaved Candyman. He enslaved Chucky. He's also enslaved. He enslaved a few more other beings to his will, and his whole endgame is to bring about the Leviathan to Earth by finding all the other relics. So it's now a mad dash across the world between the two groups of monsters as they frantically try to find these relics of power. Pinhead already has the Lament configuration, and the Universal monsters have the Scroll of Thoth. So they've already got one each, so now it's just a matter of locating the others, like the Necronomicon. They also have to find the Gem of the Jinn from Wishmaster. The Genie's Gem. The Jinn's Gem. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. They also have to locate the Mirror of Daniel Robitaille that contains his soul. They have to find... they also have to find several other artifacts just throughout throughout horror history. It's just like a veritable who's who of horror everywhere. So throughout it, all the both the monsters and the slashers go just out into the world and just there's fights in the cities, there's fights in ancient temples. Like you've got the Frankenstein monster doing battle with Jason. You have Dracula who does battle head on with Pinhead. You have like Chucky, Candyman attacking the mummy. And he's and Candy, like, I'd love to have a fight between Candyman and the Mummy where the Mummy's like, Robitaille is like mocking him through the mirrors. He's like, you gave your life for love, as did I. Only I became a true monster. And Imhotep is just like, the only thing you became is a corpse like me. So It's just all-out chaos throughout it until both sides. It comes down to after. Because of course, inevitably, Pinhead does get all the all the artifacts, and uses all the combined power to bring the Leviathan to being. But the monsters arrive, and like in a big horror version of the Avengers, they attack the slashers in one final battle, and leading to Dracula defeating Pinhead and closing the Necronomicon and flinging it out into the ethers of time. This means that the other slashers that Pinhead had enslaved and removed from time, also get ripped back to their time periods and their time periods, and the Leviathan is pushed back into the bowels of hell. At the end of it, the monsters are all like, "So we're the only ones who get to kill people, right?" And Dracula's like, "Yes. We have done a great service to the world, but make no mistake, it's our world." So, there you go, guys. That is pretty much the Horror War. I'd like to thank everyone who voted in this. This was a lot of fun to do. And yeah, just comment below, let me know what you guys think of it, and what slasher monster mashup would you like to see if this was an actual event? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.